This is on glasses.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Gist on Glasses podcast. It's so good to be here. We're back here. It's been a very, very long time. We had this motherfucker. How far, Clinton? How are you?
I'm very well.
It's nice to have you again.
Thank
and
you.
of course, Kashim in the building. What's up, my man?
What's up, guys? Shout out to Clinton.
Yeah, shout out
been
to
a long
Clinton.
time since we had
Just
him.
came back. Been a long time.
Wow.
How is HK business?
What did you say? Please. I'm a decent Nigerian citizen.
Wow, amazing. Decent lawyer also.
Yes, I'm a decent lawyer.
He's
so
a lawyer.
call me for your,
You can say that.
for your
You
troubles.
know, every cartel, they have their shit you get.
I disassociate myself from all of this. But
Okay,
Yeah.
First of all, it's nice to have Clinton back.
Thank
He
you.
traveled for Christmas and New Year and everything, and he's back again. Kashim also, we've been here with him and everybody. But today, we want to talk about why corruption is celebrated in your country, Nigeria. So, like this, first of all, this whole thing here, this question, it goes out to everybody. And I want you guys to answer it in your own way. But here in the studio, we're going to be talking about it briefly for a few minutes. And we'd like to know, Clinton, why is corruption celebrated?
Why are you asking me first? This is very, very unfair.
Why is corruption celebrated?
But
first of all?
one of the things I can say on that subject is that we are facing a situation where our country is facing like serious decline in morals, in values.
Mhm.
Because I think when it comes to corruption being celebrated in Nigeria, you look at our value system right now, it is very I can't even use the word polarized. It's just jaga jaga, like that song. Like, it's crazy. Why is corruption celebrated in Nigeria? Our values are declining like profusely. Like, honesty is a luxury right now, because everybody wants to make it. Financial security is the goal and the end justifies the means. So that's my take.
you know,
crazy.
yeah, like, you want to say something? Or-
Yeah, I feel like corruption is such a large topic, and I've been wanting to talk about this for a while now because it affects so many areas. And if you look at why corruption is being celebrated, there are people that will justify the means, say that I have to survive, it's an opportunity to survive. But then, just like Clinton said, like, people use that to say that the end justifies the means, but the means are the most harmful threat to all of us as a nation.
You know, people, I feel like he said, our values, like, they keep declining every day, and people will do anything. And I feel like people don't really understand how deep this shit goes, because whatever is it that you're doing, it affects each and every one of us.
Oh no, they do.
Like,
They do. Of course, a lot of.
no, I feel like they don't.
With
because
this level,
people
with this
really don't
level,
give a fuck anymore.
I disagree. With this level of, do you know the intentionality that goes into some of these like actions? Like, it's not something you can just wake up on a whim. Like, there's a lot of intentionality. For instance, now let me bring should I call it a parody, or sort of like a parallel? Let me draw parallels there. When they talk about sex work now, and I say it, and that sex work is
Clinton,
work.
what is it?
And
with
wait,
you?
let me listen. I say sex work is legal work, and beyond the legal or the social, like the predominant legal or social norms or
moral
whatever that is
values.
ethical standard that is prevalent at that time, it's a lot of work, because you see, these people who do sex work, they go at a certain time.
Mhm.
They have a set time. They are there at that time. They have a stand. Sometimes their customers even know when they go to church. Because I've had an experience, I accompanied someone to one of those places, to the midnight market. And this person asked for a certain girl, and they were like, that girl went to church, but she'll be back in the next 30 minutes. So drawing parallels now with corruption, people who do these actions now, they know there's a lot of planning that goes into it. You can't just, it has the issue of our values, and there's also the systemic, like how will I put, enablement of some sort.
Now, do you think, like, do you like feel like it is actually because it is one thing for corruption to happen. Corruption happens everywhere. Like, there's no country that corruption doesn't happen. You understand? In fact, I feel like more corruption happen in the Western world than it does in some of our countries. Do you get?
No, I don't quarrel with that at all.
So
but
now,
you talked about it being celebrated.
yes,
Wait,
that's the point.
Case in point, somebody was arraigned before EFCC, before a federal high court, for corruption practices, blah blah blah, money laundering. After a few months of long drawn out legal battles, the person goes back to his village and is given a chieftaincy title. Please explain to
That's
me.
the point.
What is celebration? Like, what do you? If that is not celebration,
You know, I see. As it is now, it has a relationship to do with our values dropping one, and then also that's the celebration part too. Because somebody who has, for instance, now let's say the former governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello.
You want to name names?
Yes, I know they fear anybody.
I'm not the name names.
The guy now, he has stolen allegedly stolen 80 billion.
Yeah.
Now, the way he was sent letters from EFCC. Do you get? Now he was sent letter. He was like, okay, you should come over to. Like, are they supposed to inform this guy and tell him that, okay, come and explain yourself, or are they supposed to just go head on and just go and arrest this guy? Because now he has stolen.
Okay, now you are thinking about procedural issues now, which I really don't want to comment on right now. But yeah, go ahead. I just want to.
Now he was after the whole. I don't know whether their case is done or what, because I really don't want to pay attention to some of these things because they are just excessively annoying. Do you understand? Now he came back. I saw a video where he came back to his village and the people were celebrating him. Like they were clapping for him, as if they made it look as though like
he did something great.
Yes. Do you understand? Like they wanted to take our guy out, but no, God fought for him. He brought him back. Like they were celebrating and they were happy. Is it that people are just dumb, or they don't understand the significance of what he has done, or they don't understand the depth of the damage that he has done and that he continues to do, and the one that other people are still doing?
What do you think comes first? Yeah, like the moral depravity or the corruption, or is it corruption first, the moral depravity?
I feel like morally you have to get to a point before you decide to do certain things
in corruption.
Yes, because
but it will push me to go back to the all-round old rhetoric. The end justifies the means. So it goes back to, for me, a single premise: financial security, money. Like, it's all about money. Because in our society where it is the success symbols are constantly being reflected as how will I call it now, superficial. How would I put it? Superficial idea of what a success looks like. Money. It's just really money. When you think about success, the first thing that comes to people's mind is money. And I don't say I'm totally excused from it too, because who don't like money, but seriously, that is where it goes back. But now there are some people who have a higher threshold. They're like, how far am I willing to go to get this security, this so-called financial security? Like, how far? What will I sacrifice? How will I push? Now, why some people will not just get mind rich to do some things? Some other people, they made up their mind. Like, it's such a powerful tool. When someone makes up their mind to do something, it's very hard. Even the Bible talks about
so whose fault would you say it is? Because as it is right now, to be very honest, I don't agree with people when they go to certain lengths. I feel like the older I get, the more I'm like, okay, you have to survive. Because people are to be very, very honest here, people are in very, very difficult situations, especially when it comes to financial incapabilities. Like you hear stories of people who they've done crazy things, and you cannot take it away that some of these people, if they had the means, they wouldn't have. Do you understand? Because the system is designed. I feel like Nigerian system is designed for corruption. If you come there with a clean heart, like, okay, you want to do things by the book.
Now, let me say something about corruption here.
Go ahead, please.
When you have a system with loopholes, then you have corruption. Because that's what corruption is, finding a way that beats the system. That's a good question. Now, these loopholes exist, and these loopholes exist without consequences. Or now, let me put a very good situation. You
do you
go to
think
a
they're
public
unintentional?
office.
Did they just happen?
I feel they're intentional that these loopholes are created. Because now when the system is inefficient, then loopholes have to be created for the outcome to continue. It's like now, if you go to a public office and you see that you have to wait 6 hours in line just to get a document, and then there's a chance that if you know someone who knows somebody, you could get it done in 2 hours or less. That's you looking at an inefficient system, but then using a loophole to get the outcome. Now, it's the outcome that you really desire, but then the system was inefficient for you to achieve it. So that's why corruption persists.
So whose fault? I think Mute asked the
Like
question.
Governing
I said,
bodies.
I feel like the system is automatically designed
By
for
who?
I don't know who designed the system.
You know, it's for me. Now, I'm asking these questions. I'm being very critical of this like aspect of our conversation, mainly because some school of thought, based on my
Yeah.
readings and my interactions with people, they've made it look. Now, this is what they profess. I'm not entirely sure whether I should go with them, but I'm like, it looks like what it is if it barks like a dog.
He's a dog.
So it's more like someone said power, that the power structures are designed to maintain this system so that the elite, the petite bourgeoisie as they are called, can
Yeah.
maintain control. Because while everybody's down there killing themselves, someone said something that with wealthy people, that business is done based on relationship, not really about all these how will I put it now? All these safe logs, bureaucratic like tendencies that you encounter when you are trying to do business
Yeah.
for someone who is poor. Unlike before, where we had it so good. Somebody was saying that they obtained the banking license at 29. Well, now can you obtain a banking license? You need at least. I think they said they increased the threshold, but last I heard, which I believe is an old statistics, you need 25 billion
Yes.
before you even be considered. That does not mean they'll give you just because you have 25 billion. Doesn't mean they'll actually just give it to you. But I know the startup capital has increased in like recent times, but I don't know exactly to what now. So it's more like the elites are like, okay, how do we like distract these people? So it looks like that. It's going back to the proletariat and the bourgeoisie all over again, the serf and their masters. But I don't know. That's just me thinking out loud based on my conversation. with
No,
people.
that's something that you have to catch. The fact that corruption goes hand in hand with the environment of capitalism. It's something that Mute said that in the Western world, corruption is more. I agree with that. I firmly agree with that the Western world is more involved in corruption. But then you just found a way to, as capitalists, not let the downside, will I say, affect the total outcome. And then if you look at Nigeria, it's like, we're like kind of like still an emerging capitalist country. There's still a lot of systems set in place by the colonial era that we haven't even gotten out of or not even aware of. They keep propagating and they keep producing these inefficiencies in the system that affect us.
But Kashim, like I know you talked about capitalism, like corruption and capitalism going by side by side. But does that exclude corruption in socialist or communist systems? Because so I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, when I look at corruption, I think about you think of these three areas, socialist and communist. I see society as a mindset of the people. So it's like how easily the society can be influenced to achieve that outcome.
So that means, now, are you going back to our earlier conversation about norms, where the norms and the value system of the place, of the environment shapes like what corruption is? Let's not even talk about whether there's corruption or not, what it even means to that system. Because I know, for instance, if you read George Orwell, 1984, I think, the things you had to do to be labeled corrupt were very. Of course, there was the use of brute force. I think they survived on the totalitarian system. But I'm just trying to think, like, does that mean that corruption is still prevalent in that system because of their interpretation, or is it just all what's the word now? One field fits all. How I want to talk.
I feel corruption exists anywhere there is an inefficient system, and then there are loopholes to curb it. That's simply the environment for corruption.
Not necessarily. I just feel like people want to get what they want.
Yes,
that's the point. So the system may be efficient, but people would understand that, okay, in fact, corruption will work irrespective of whether the system is efficient or not. Because some people want to get what they want. Now, knowing fully well that if the system is efficient enough, I may not be able to get what I want in good time. So in order to save time and to save cost and to, just find my way, people will cut corners.
Do you think it's a flaw of the human?
It's just human nature.
Now, if you can agree that,
and you don't think it's like an X factor or a consequence of social engineering, you don't think so?
I believe that.
I'm just now there are different levels. For instance, now there are different levels to this. Now, there's corruption in the sense that the average man, do you understand? Like the masses, the poor average masses that they engage in. That is as a result of lack of good system. Now, when the elites operates corruption, it's not because the system is not working. I feel like the elites understand that, in fact, the fact that the system is working, it means that we need to create certain level of obstacles or put in certain roadblocks or what they call it, just create something to prevent certain people from, like you said now, okay, you want to
talk about recipism and bureaucracy.
yes, to hinder people to get through. Now, okay, now we are talking about, let's say Nigeria now, for instance, you want to start a bank. You need 25 billion. How many people can get 25 billion?
Based on the old rate too.
Okay, that's the old rate. So how many people in the country can get 25 billion? Meanwhile, what is actually a bank? Banking is literally transacting between this guy and
a bank is a broker primarily.
It's actually easy, but then they intentionally make it difficult. I understand that they can hide behind certain theories that, okay, in order to have, probably to say, we need to have a system where, okay, if let's say money is being stolen or lost, to safeguard the interest of the customers in that bank, you get. So they put some of these rules in place to check and balance,
to regulate,
for regulation purposes. But then, man, sometimes you just look at it and you know that these people are intentionally trying to frustrate your life. They are trying to sabotage you. So, like I was talking about corruption as per when it comes to the elites now. Now, there's this documentary that I watch almost every year. As an entrepreneur, I feel like every year I try to watch it to just revamp my mind. The men who built America. Now, what they did, Carnegie, Rockefeller, what's that other guy's name? What's that other guy's name? JP Morgan. What they did was corruption. Do you get, they monopolized the entire American economy to feed themselves, especially Rockefeller. Now, these guys went as far as influencing the American election to find a suitable president that was going to do what they wanted him to do. Now, these people, these guys are billionaires already. These guys were handling millions of dollars as at that year.
Wait, can I do something? I want to say something. From the offshoot of what you've been telling us about America now. I know we're talking about Nigeria, but I want us to go out of our way a bit. Do you think corruption is celebrated in America, or rather corruption is only frowned upon and harbored because the systems have been designed in such a way that even the idea of corruption and the charges for corruption or whatever you want to call it catches it's still like a system on its own to keep poor people under.
Now, there's something you have
whereby you don't really give you get 1% of the 1% so that people really get there. But just go ahead.
There's something you have to consider about that. It's we know how corruption takes form, at least, and we know it's practiced in every country. So, let's say corruption is 100% removable. Well, I don't know. But then a good question to ask after that is, okay, what is the reaction or what is the coping mechanism to corruption when it's discovered? The last time you were in a scene that involved corruption, how did you challenge it? Did you even challenge it? I feel like when you're in Nigeria now, the average coping mechanism for corruption is ignorance. It's it has happened, it's not your business. Now, is that the same in other countries or Western nations? When corruption comes and is exposed, has that been challenged? How is that even being challenged? That's a good question.
What you did there. That's no.
Go on, please.
But that's my opening statement. Is okay, what is the coping mechanism or the reaction to corruption?
You find your way around it.
Because that's what makes
cheating.
That's what makes you proper.
Let me answer that question.
Okay,
you find your way around it by
I'm going to answer this question in this particular way. In 2020, I went to do my international passport.
Why you sound like a politician?
No, because that's the best example to explain what you just said.
Please go ahead.
I went to do my international passport, and the basic fee was 25,000. Yeah. Now I paid 25K. And I left. I was trying to hurry the guy. Oh, please, I need this. Blah, 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 blah. No, because I want to travel. I just did ginger. Finally, the guy calls me up. I think a month later. I was like, see, bro, I no go lie for you. We no get, what do you call them? We no get paper. That's what he said, that they didn't have paper to print my passport. It was already ready. The digital copy was ready. He sent me the pictures, but they didn't have papers to print it. He calls me up, after a few weeks later, and it was honestly, what's it called? The international passports, the papers are finished in the office. I don't understand. How can papers finish? like to print passports. It's not like paper that I can just go outside and just go and buy. So he was like, okay, if I was willing to like add something, you understand, to add something extra, and they were going to get it ready for me. And I think I went there with cash self and paid him. And then few days later, I think like a week later, he called me up that the passport is ready. No, it is not like, going back to your question, like the system, like we talked about, this whole thing is designed in such a way that sometimes it's not your intention. Okay, it was Kashim that was asking that question. It's not your intention to want to
Act
like,
that way.
like to act that way and to bribe. I wouldn't even say it's bribe. I feel like they just put you in a chokehold. They just put you in a situation where,
So for them, it could be the economic justification. For you, it could be like the ease of getting things done.
yes, you just want to
Yes.
get things done. That's all you're after. It's not like you are out there, okay, going. It's not like you wake up one morning and you're like, okay, today I'm going to bribe this person.
Just to survive.
You just want to get things done.
Do you think conflict can have a way of, is a appropriate, like conflict could be an appropriate response?
What kind of conflict?
No, just disagreeing or maybe not refusing to play ball. Do you think it works?
If you refuse to play ball, the truth is, these things, like, you need these people to work with you. You really need them. If you refuse to play ball, then you wait. Because when I went there, like, I saw a lot of people. I saw people who have been, like, they've been coming to, like, complain about. In fact, that was one of the reasons that inspired me to say, I'm going to give them the extra cash they're asking for. Because they tell you that some people have been waiting for their passports for like 4 months, 5 months, some people over a year, and they've not gotten it. But if you are willing to like give them what they're asking for, so you definitely give them what they want.
I think, do you think that maybe the achievement of, say, economic or some economic gains really, does it have a role to play with why maybe corruption is like celebrated in Nigeria? Because at the end of the day, that like some of the stories we gave in the beginning, they'll do this thing, they'll come, they'll give them chieftaincy title. You go, you come, they are celebrated like they won some kind of match or something, or they've done some noble.
That's the point exactly, because the fact that
so
a
those
lot
people
of
are
this,
seen as heroes. So
yes,
to see,
yeah.
and
they are, because our values have been reduced to money as it is right now. It doesn't matter how you get it. You get,
As long as you get it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you get it. Just get it, and you are going to be celebrated. You know, some of these people, they get into public office and they don't know how these things work. They don't know how the system of signing off a contract. They don't really know how some of these things work.
They don't understand that.
They don't understand the administration. And you know, some of these leaders, the offices they go into are appointments, and some of them they are voted into some of these offices. So they don't really, except the ones who have been there for like years. You know, some of them don't know how it functions, how it works. So it is the civil servants in the civil service that teach the appointees how to change
Run
figures.
things.
Yes, because they've been there. They see a lot of DGs come in and go out. So they know how the system works. So they are able to find their way around it. So they put them through. They show them that, okay, this is how these things are done. You know, Sam Adeyemi was talking about how a lot of military generals in the country are not able, like, going based on their basic salary, they are not able to afford to send some of their children to private universities. And it's sad. Now, see how much work you have to put into, how much effort and work you have to put into getting to that rank. But it tells you that at that level, what they earn is very, very, very meager. I heard how much they paid professors. I'm like, are you serious?
It's like it's undeserving.
It's like a professor in Nigeria I don't think there's any professor that earns up to 700,000, like basic salary, like 700K. Do you get? And
these people have families.
no, forget the fact that they have families. What you have to go through to become a professor in Nigeria to start with, you know, you have to fight senior colleagues that don't want you to become, because the thing becomes like a cult, like it's like a cartel.
Gatekeeping.
There's a lot of gatekeeping. So now you finish all this and you come back and you're not paid well. They have to find ways to feed themselves, to take care of themselves. So the thing is just twisted.
So the economic gains is like a huge part of this issue. Okay.
Definitely a huge part. A very, very big, huge part.
this corruption thing, like I said at the beginning, it's a big ass topic. It covers so many areas.
Yeah, that's
And then sometimes you find yourself in a situation where it's like you just have to move with the flow of it because you don't have a better alternative on option. It's like you just have to, okay, get in line with it. I mean, even though I'm a Christian, I know it'd be, why I say, unpractical of me now to be in a situation where I want things to take over for me, like to my benefit, and I just say, Jesus, take control. It's not going to happen like that. I have to be practical and make things work. Unfortunately, the system is such a way that you putting together a solution to find your way out is through the gates of these people that we see as the bad guys or the corrupt people in power.
Do you feel
But
like
do you think we're
okay, go on.
we're all absolved of this phenomena of corruption? Like, do you think in our own little corners, our own little spaces, we may or may not be contributing to the system? Because that's really like, as much as we can bemoan all of this, oh, corruption, celebrated, oh, nonsense, is it possible that we may have unwittingly contributed to like such systems
As Nigerians,
based on stereotypes and all everything?
I feel like as Nigerians, honestly, Nigerians are not against corruption. Nigerians don't hate corruption. They just want to be in the place where they benefit from it. Because there are people who they know the right thing to do. They know that it's wrong. They know, like, they totally understand all of these things. But the mere fact that they are in the place where it is beneficial to them. Do you think people who are in public offices that they don't deserve, people who are in those positions where they benefit from stealing government funds, NNPC will come and tell you that the former administration will tell you that, oh, they left how many billion in NNPC, what's it called, account
Reserve.
and then they will come and tell you that no, that they didn't meet anything. No, did the money disappear? Sure, you get. Like, we've heard funny stories, like some of the dumbest stories you hear in Nigeria. Like, these people, they are not even scared. They're not even scared. They don't give a fuck. Like, nobody cares. Like, somebody will come and tell you that money is snake swallowed money in white coffee. Like
23.
Like, do you think we are funny enough? I feel like I feel like we are stupid. Because they come and tell you this thing and nothing happens. You get, somebody will come and tell you that snake swallowed over 20 million. You get, whether it's hypothetically speaking or literally speaking. But then what happened? What happened to the people? Nothing.
It really makes mockery of our collective like
intelligence.
Yeah, they just make it
so
look
it's like it's ignorance, because when this situation comes up, we celebrate it with memes or we react to it with memes. We make fun of it, we make jest of it.
Cruise
So
control.
it dilutes the potency of the matter.
The impact of
So it's
what
just, it becomes like street gist. So it just becomes
You
something.
see, that's have an issue with going back to some of our laws about misappropriation of public funds. Call it what it is, stealing. The person stole. Because the idea of the narrative concerning, I know it's just really semantics, really, if they still want to work the work, but I think part of our collective consciousness is to identify it for what it is. If, for instance, if it's stealing, call it stealing. Because the association, the idea, when stealing is mentioned, the thoughts and the images that go through your mind they are not, for you, they are not really positive images.
Yeah.
Your response are like, how would someone do that? But when they talk about misappropriation of funds, money laundering, yes, I feel like it's more like hidden language. Only a few people really get it.
But money laundering is not theft.
I know it's not. No, I'm talking about. I'm just using that as a. Okay, let me come back to misappropriation of public funds. It more looks like, it almost seems like one mistake that somebody made somewhere.
No,
Like they made a mistake. So it's not really.
It's not like drive home the message.
Of the stole.
Yes.
And it does. That's why I feel that it's easier to say, maybe when the person comes back, they'll say it's a witch hunt. But if you hear rumors that somebody who stole something, that is a whole lot of damage. You know that it causes
reputational
damage already in the eyes of everybody collectively. Why still, like, there's this vitriol that comes in when you say misappropriation of public funds?
Some people may not even understand what you're trying to
explain.
Not just like, okay, somebody, they're not speaking plenty English in that place.
So he couldn't. They may even, some people may go as far as say he couldn't have done that because they don't fully get the gravity of what that means. I don't know.
But as it is right now, in this country, in this Nigeria, it feels like it cannot end because politics is in everything. Politics is highly involved in everything. So in a situation where we belong to the same political party, yeah, and then
I think you haven't reaching too far with political party. Let's even talk about the personal. I can't remember which scholar said the political can be personal and the personal can be political. So let's even bring it home in our personal politics of self and how we exist within our day. Like, it is political. Like, there are political decisions we make at all times. For instance, now let's go back to, we're having a conversation earlier, like behind the scene, and we mentioned about going somewhere, and I was like, I was telling Kashim, like, she shouldn't tell you. That's like a political decision as well as it's personal. Yeah. But thinking about it now, is politics and corruption mutually exclusive, or are they just tools of each other, or are they just working side by side? What is, especially when you talk of the political, because even our personal, because even when they'll say parents, they love their parents, will say they love their children equally, but we all know that it's bull.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the very act, the political decisions the personal decisions, which are somewhat also political, are they mutually exclusive from corruption? Because I feel looking at the family unit as the first area of socialization, do you think that is also like...
To answer Miss question first, but I disagree when we say, I feel like, yes, Nigeria can be cured of corruption.
Okay.
Now,
that's a bold.
Yeah, I'll be honest now.
I don't want to sound like
this is why I find it so.
Let me not lie, me, I've given up.
Okay.
Let me not lie.
That's me. Okay. Now, if you want to say like the average Nigerian is internally or basically or fundamentally corrupt, now you see that Nigerians that get to leave the country. You understand? It's like you see how they go and then they make leaps and they make bounds and they make a name for themselves there. You now begin to wonder why they're not acting like the way you expect them to act now in the host country. Now that tells you that it's not a fundamental problem. It's just a coping mechanism to the system that we're exposed to that makes us think corruption is impossible to overcome.
So it is contextual on the whole. Is that what you're saying?
I can take a step forward to say that it is contextual.
Some of us are here and we've intentionally decided not to.
And another problem again is that
some of us, me.
Okay, yes, we've been desensitized.
But you bribed.
No, I didn't bribe. He asked me for it and I gave him.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
You don't have to get defensive. I agree. You are not corrupt. You're a good man.
That's questionable.
I'm not corrupt.
But then another major problem we have is that we've been desensitized to certain things of our culture, of our morals. So it makes it like now, I ever see this person when like has someone ever told you you're acting white?
Yeah.
Or you're acting.
To do certain things.
Yes. If you hold yourself to a higher standard of etiquette, tell you why you're acting like. But then it's like because we've been desensitized. That level now, when we see those of, let's say, the higher class, even lighter skin color, it seems normal to them. Because we've been sensitized to accept that from them, but we've been desensitized to accept that from ourselves. So, of course, when you have these things, you have this desensitization. Then you have the fact that corruption as a system to function properly needs management, needs accountability. But and then those things are lacking.
It looks like you are saying that socialization is being weaponized.
Yes.
Even though that might be a call in the wilderness. But
I feel like socialization is weaponized in a way. Because there are certain people where the moment they leave this country, they behave themselves.
But of course.
Once they come back to this country, it's like they remove the hard drive of, you are back in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. And then they start from... There are people who, they'll walk the streets of Jos and they wouldn't want to... How do I put it now? Literal example, like people walk down the street and then they eat something, they just throw it on the road.
They just litter.
They litter the environment. Those same people, see them in London.
They don't do that.
Do you get?
Because the system
they know that when you try this rubbish here, if you go sleep for police station,
exactly.
Pay. You understand? Then you'll still pay fine. If you meet a very, very drastic or very, very straightforward, maybe let's say you meet a very harsh judge, you could also include community service for you for something as little
for
as
several
that.
months or weeks.
I think we on this other part of the world, we monetize everything. Now somebody is going to look at what's going to cost to prosecute, the prosecution process of how much it's going to cost to come and sit down in the courtroom, do this one, all that process, like, just bring something, we'll just free you, may you just go.
Yeah.
You get so. And then because we don't ensure that the consequences for people's actions are met, so they keep repeating the same action and nobody cares and nobody gives a fuck.
Could it also be
Mhm.
another system of control to keep us at a certain pace? Because when we talk about corruption also happening in Western countries, it's happening on a much grander scale.
Yeah.
Like they need their system to work a certain way for that. So while they are masking it under like a lot of
I don't think we should
Now-
blame anybody for how
Okay.
our system is, because we decide to make this system operate. It's not anybody.
No, when I talk about programming, I'm not even saying whether from outside. I'm
Like
even
social
I'm even
engineering.
saying us within us doing ourselves. After all, they'll say some people will climb ladder, then they will remove the ladder from other people to climb. That could be over us winching ourselves.
Exactly. Now to
I'm
answer
not even talking, it doesn't have to be
Clinton's
outside.
first question about the context of corruption, politics, and personal interest or matter. I see politics as a performance of influence. So now, in the sense of it's involving personal matter, how much or how well can I influence you? Because influence comes in content and context. How well can I influence you to support a matter that benefits me, but still put you at a higher leverage or advantage? So now when that system comes into play, it's like, okay, what's the agenda going on there again? If you don't have a person that is, will I say, yes, definitely has vision. Now, one thing our leaders are famous for is that they like sacrificing long-term gain for short-term approval, pleasures, and benefits.
Gratification.
Yes. Now, when that becomes, now that's in politics now, it's associated. So that means that's influence that they're exercising over their party or the environment around them. And then it's like a top-down leadership thing. So it's like, I've met people that said that me, because of the way I've suffered in politics, when I enter politics, I'm going to do times 10 of what happened. And then, so that's influence now. The person has become, that's the outcome of the person's political experience with the leaders in power. So it has to do a lot with management and accountability as well. That's why I say that if these things, because there are countries that started off worse than us, or actually worse than us, like when, a few Asian countries, like Japan, you see China, you have even Singapore. These people say of worse than us, but then they had an intentional, change of priorities that set them aside. So
Do you think a revolution might have played a role? Because if you read about
Yeah.
their histories, French,
a revolution
Japan,
was,
But not all
yes.
of them had revolution now.
Okay.
So I think
They
some
had-
of them,
they had a
it was
revolution
just a
in
change of
different
heart.
ways or context.
No,
Let
when
me
I
put
talk
it like that.
revolution, I just don't. I'm not just circumventing to just. Let's carry like the Marie Antoinette situation and the French Revolution. It could,
You know
be
when
an
I
intellectual, like when we talk about the Renaissance and all of
before
those things.
people kill me for this,
Yeah.
when I or before they come for me, when I said, okay, I don't think I said it. I don't think I said it on like live. Me, I've given up on Nigeria. Let me not lie. To be very honest, and the reason why I've given up on Nigeria is not because of what I see happen. It's the mind that people have. In fact, people who have never seen any form of power before, they've never seen any form of money before, like never ever. You get? So I'm not worried about the people who are stealing money now or who are doing one thing or the other. I'm worried about
The average
people.
Nigerian.
Yes, the average Nigerian who has never been in a place of power or
But
authority.
I beg to disagree with you about them not being. It may be just that the territory is just a dot, but for them to be able to exercise that, there's some form of privilege and power. That's why I feel on many levels. I said something that could it be like a programming of power play
Yes.
to keep people under, and the people down there now, they feel maybe, for instance, let's trickle it down to the woman who's selling at the market. She has the power. She knows this is where I get these goods from. And these people cannot get these goods from that place. She understands that power. And instead of having to see how she can use that power and privilege to change her world, she's decided that no, I'm going to use this opportunity to get people. Whereby you bought this thing 20 naira, but madam, you did lie saying at 500 naira. I say gain of this if.
The average Nigerian is just something else.
Because I feel every one of us is powerful in
Something that I
Except we don't
very powerfully agree with is that nothing happens by chance and everything happens for the reason. Even this universe, there's nothing in the universe that happens as an unforeseen occurrence. The same way I believe that everything that we as a society impute or are engineered towards is intentional from it. Let me call these people a shadow organization. Now, I can say that one tactic they have used that I'm very aware of is the fact that they are attacking the family system or the family unit of society. Because when you crush the family unit, you crush the society. The society falls into chaos. Chaos creates opportunity for more influence, power, and control. Now, back in the day, it would have been a situation where it would have been done by feudal lords or monarchies. Now we're in a situation where this thing is done by big businesses.
Big
I mean,
corporations.
one thing, I'm not really tight on social media because I know this thing about social media. I don't have a relationship with it because I know this. The first priority of it is to sell you information. But it has to sell you something
Story
that is
narrative.
valuable to them before it's valuable to you.
Yeah.
So if they are doing that on such a commercial scale, it's hard to say that there isn't an offshoot system working to benefit from that at the same time. And then looking at the effects long term. I mean, if you look at many things that have become, there's this term they call it moral relativism. So it's like what is right to you might not be right to me if I don't understand it, and what is wrong to me might not be wrong to you if you don't understand it. So it's like all about relativism. But then that's like the biggest scam you can put out there.
But when I hear about moral relativism, it makes me question the fact that I said it some time ago. I think last week I was talking to someone somewhere. I said, is there really anything such as our personal beliefs? Is that even really a thing, or was it just a construct? Because you are telling me it is black, and another person is telling you it is red,
White,
and we are
yeah.
giving really beautiful empirical evidence to like both school of thought.
Mm-hmm.
Some will argue that both school of thought can exist within the same society, blah blah
Okay.
blah blah. While some people are, of course, fiercely or at odds with each other and all of that. So it makes me really question the concept of personal beliefs. Yeah. I think
When
that's
it comes to personal beliefs, you have to really consider the truth.
What is
the truth? Yes, the truth is the hammer that sets the foundation
Well,
to reason
I
and
feel like
judgment.
people will say anything to justify their actions.
Exactly.
So
But
it doesn't-
this thing you are saying now, the people on the other side, for instance, as this they are using these same arguments to justify their cause. Because now I know you are coming from a place of something's being what is wrong is wrong. I'm sure that's the conclusion from the premise. From if you follow the premise, what's wrong is wrong, what is right. But people will still say what they want to say.
Yes.
But the people on that other side now are still saying that those ones they don't. I don't know. You
I
see
feel
why
like
I had
generally
issue
there's
with that concept.
like to end this whole conversation. Generally, there's a benchmark for what is true and what is wrong and what is right and what is wrong. Now, based on how you want
Who
to
creates
tilt-
this
That's what I'm
benchmark?
saying. Based on how you want to tilt
Objectivity.
yes, objectivity of how you want to look at it from and to suit your guilt and your emotions when you take some of those actions. You can now that's where the conflict comes from. Okay, whether it's 6 or it's 9, because you are standing from here. I'm seeing a 6. From the other angle, the person
You're seeing
there
a
is
9.
But isn't it like a consequence of like diverse social narratives? And that is why someone said something about the Tower of Babel, that if God had not like given them different languages,
Yeah.
if they're all in sync in that context, that they would have succeeded in what they were doing. Like they would have
Because there was unity.
because of that unity, because everybody's thinking the same concept is going. So this conflict of whether you are seeing 6 or you are seeing 9 was not there.
at the end of the day, that's the limitation of man.
Let us build.
That is how you know that you don't, as a human being, you don't know it all. You'd have to also consider where the other person is coming from, the perspective at which he or she is looking at it from, so that you have an understanding of what the point is.
Do you think that will ever be able to help us justify that other side, or at least respect them? I don't want to even say accept them, because
In the last
we
day-
will never.
on the last day
we
we'll
will
find
never
out.
because no. Let's talk about this content, because I know we will never accept it. We'll always be in a year.
Like I said,
but with those kind of arguments, help us
on
really
the,
like
on the
okay,
last day we'll find out.
I don't
who's
agree with
right
you. I
or who's
respect
wrong.
you, but I still don't.
Yes,
I don't agree with
agree
this.
to
Hey,
disagree.
like you said, it doesn't have to be conflict. Like there's really no need for conflict when it comes to these things. You respect somebody's opinion. There's a lot of opinions I don't
Respect.
I don't accept and I don't respect. They're the ones that I don't accept, but I respect you for even like voicing out your opinion and saying it out. I respect you,
But still not gonna agree with you.
No, I don't agree with
I don't
you.
agree with you.
Now
I'm
we
not-
can be cool, but when it comes to drawing the line, when it comes to some of these topics, like you know that clearly, I don't agree with this. and I
Yes.
don't- So
Hence, no
Last
celebration of corruption.
okay, guys, it was a nice time having this conversation with these two guys. This topic.
Who is these two guys?
It's Clinton and Kashim. The law.
Don't mind me. I'm not authoritative.
Baddest guy. So it was nice having this thing with you guys, and hope to see you guys next week. Tune in by 6 p.m. Friday to watch the next episode of Jesus on Glasses podcast. See you guys soon. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed to the channel. Like, comments, no DMs, please. No DMs. Send it to the comment section. All right, guys. See you guys next time. Take care. Bye. Let's go.